Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in this video. So I've been getting a lot of requests regarding, doing the position of the seventh lord of D1 in D9 and how it influences our marital destiny. And so this video series, this is part one of the series. The part two, we'll have another part on this series. So this video series is about understanding in details as to how the seventh lord of the Rashi chart would influence the marriage of a native by its placement in the Navamsha. Okay. So in Vedic astrology, of course, the Navamsha or the D9 chart, it plays a very crucial role in understanding your married life, your relationships, and also the phase of life after marriage. And I did a video on debunking the myths related to Navamsha and the various secrets you know of Navamsha. So the position of the seventh lord from the birth chart or the Rashi chart in the various houses of the Navamsha chart or D9 will reveal a lot of insights into your married life, into your family, wealth, and transformations that occur after marriage. Okay. And in this video series, as I said, we will explore the effects of the seventh lord of D1 in different houses of D9 and throw light on how these placements influence your marital journey. Okay. So, what if the seventh lord of D1 chart goes into the first house of D9? Okay. So, what does the first house of the Navamsha chart represent? It represents yourself, your personality, and also overall life direction. So, if you have the seventh lord of D1 in the first house of D9, it indicates that the marriage will play a very pivotal role in your self discovery and personal development. Okay. Your identity will undergo significant changes after marriage, and you may see yourself through the eyes of your spouse, through the perception of your spouse as such. And it also means that by the virtue of this placement, you could possibly become highly focused on your marriage and partnership with your spouse being the central figure in your life. Okay. And the good part of this placement is that your spouse will encourage and support your personal growth and self development. Okay. And depending on other planetary aspects, remember the Navamsha chart, aspects are must also be seen in a Navamsha chart. So depending upon the planetary aspects, there might be some kind of leadership dynamics or power struggles within your married life. Okay. Now, what if the seventh lord of the Rashi chart goes into the second house of Navamsha? So the second house of Navamsha, it represents family, wealth, possessions, and the value that you gain in life after marriage. Okay. So when the seventh lord of the Rashi chart goes into the second house of the Navamsha chart, you can expect significant transformations in your life after marriage, like, relocation or starting new ventures. All right. And marriage is certainly going to teach you how to value yourself, your family, and the wealth and the possessions that you accumulate. Okay. So there might be cultural differences or traditions to navigate when this happens or when you have displacement. And because of displacement, your spouse may take on a central role in the family. There may be a strong connection between your family and your spouse's family. But then, depending on the planetary aspects, your spouse might have a dominant personality or strong, ego. Okay, so you have to be very careful when it comes to balancing egos within your family as well as the spouse's family, as well as between you and the spouse. Okay. What if the seventh lord of D1 goes to the third house of the Navamsha chart? So the third house, it represents, communication, siblings, and short journeys after marriage. Okay, so if you're having this placement where the seventh lord of D1 goes into the third house of D9, your marital life will emphasize communication and collaboration. And, you will often find that you and your spouse are engaging in open discussions and shared endeavors. Okay. You might travel together to a lot of places, for a day or for a day or two. Okay. And, it also indicates that your spouse may have a close bond with your siblings and extended family. And because of displacement, sibling interactions will be very, very significant in your married life. Okay. Now, as I said earlier, if your seventh lord of D1 goes into the third house of D9, then your marriage may involve frequent short journeys, either for work or leisure. And these journeys will play a role in your relationship dynamics. That means you can actually develop your relationship based on, on your short distance travels. All right. And both you and your spouse will have a strong intellectual connection, sharing ideas and interests. And of course, your siblings will play a supportive role in your marriage, but like offering guidance and assistance whenever needed. Okay. What if the seventh lord of D1 goes into the fourth house of Navamsha? All right. The fourth house of Navamsha, it represents your home, comfort and inner emotional security after marriage. Okay. So I keep on saying time and again that fourth house of D9 is the most important chart because this represents the happiness from the marriage. All right. So the seventh lord of D1 in the fourth house of D9 will bring a strong focus on the home environment. Okay. You and your spouse will prioritize creating a comfortable and nurturing home life. Okay. And both of you, that means you and your spouse, will have a deep connection with your families of origin. All right. And you'll find that your family values and traditions, as well as the family values and traditions of your spouse, will play a very significant role in your, in your marriage. And the good thing about this placement is that your spouse is going to contribute to your own emotional security, right? Like creating a safe and loving atmosphere within the home. And also, the fourth house represents the mother. So your mother or your spouse's mother, that means your mother-in-law, is going to have a very notable influence on your married life. I mean, their support, you will find that their support and guidance is very essential for the marriage to thrive. Okay. And the fourth house is also the house of nourishment, right? So you and your spouse will nourish each other, will nurture each other, and build a strong foundation for your family life. Okay. So if the seventh lord of the Rashi chart goes into the fifth house of Navamsha, right? What does the fifth house represent? It represents romance, children, speculative ventures, as well as your creative aspect. Okay. Remember, the fifth house is also the house of romance. So if the seventh lord of D1 goes to the fifth house of D9, it is very likely that you are having a love marriage, and if not, your married life is likely to be filled with love and romance after the marriage. Okay, so you will have a very strong emotional bond with your spouse. Okay, and I've seen people having this placement. A couple had this placement, and they were very fond of trying out sexual positions. Different sexual positions based on the Kama Sutra. And marriage may bring about creative ventures or the birth of children. Okay, your spouse may be very artistic or have a keen interest in creative pursuits. Okay, and also you have to pay attention to the fact that you would have a deep-seated desire, for a long commitment to parenting, and your spouse is also going to have the same desire. And after childbirth, your children are going to play a very significant role in each of your lives. Okay, and both of you, you and your spouse, will share hobbies and interests, strengthening your connection from mutual activities. And your marital journey may involve speculative ventures, investments or entrepreneurial pursuits that contribute to your wealth and happiness. So, in my opinion, this is the best placement to have for the seventh lord to, of the D1 chart in D9. Okay. But, anyways, that is my personal opinion. Other opinions may vary. Right. So, what if the seventh lord of D1 goes into the sixth house of D9? Remember, sixth house of the Navamsha chart represents obstacles, health issues, your service, as well as your daily routines, your daily life after marriage. Okay. So, marriage, comes with its own share of challenges and responsibilities. And in this case of having displacement of the seventh lord of D1 coming to the sixth house of D9, you and your spouse might need to focus on resolving conflicts and serving each other. Okay, so if you're having a bad marriage due to displacement, I've seen many people have a bad or have a difficult married life, then focus your attention on serving your spouse rather than arguing with your spouse. Okay, and your spouse is going to have a significant influence on your health and well-being. Okay, so health related, if you're not having a good relation with your spouse, you may come across numerous health related issues. And I always say this to my clients, that a bad marriage can give you, a bad relationship can give you cancer faster than cigarettes. Okay, so you have to focus on working together in service oriented fields, or jointly addressing health concerns. And also, for people having displacement, shared routines and habits will be very prominent. So if you are facing difficulties in your married life because of displacement, try to have a similar routine with your spouse. I mean, suppose your spouse is fond of getting up early in the morning, then you to get up early in the morning and go to bed early at night with your spouse so that it becomes a shared routine. Okay. Now, conflict resolution has to be the main theme for your marriage. So, you know, because of the difficulties of displacement, you and your spouse will end up developing strong conflict resolution skills, which will be very essential in maintaining a harmonious relationship. And also, your marriage will certainly involve service to others, whether through caregiving, health, or you may find your spouse belonging to a healthcare profession, or you might find both of you engaging in community service. Now, engaging in community service can be a very good remedy for overcoming the negativities of such a placement like this. Okay, so that's it in this video. In the next part of this series, we are going to cover the other houses of the Navamsha chart and see how the seventh lord of D1 is going to behave in those houses. Okay. So as always, please like the content. If you find it useful, please share it with your friends and family if you think they will find it beneficial. And as always, please don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you soon in the next part of this series. Namaste. Om Gurave Namaha.